pretty sure you went to the wedding of the guy who's got the viral video with Zion, where he's the short guy and he's trying to like match up. I don't know if you've seen the video. And he's like pushing him, and like in high school, and Zion's towering over him. So they're actually friends. But that's a guy you went to his wedding, right? And that's one of those videos that everybody knows about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Bryson. Yeah, the girl that he married was my kid's babysitter all through her high school, and she is a volleyball player, so she played for the club. So yeah, we kind of, I mean, every time we don't see Bryson a ton, but whenever we see him, we like to give him a hard time because that was his claim to fame.
Jameel Muhammad and Jeff Cardozo dive into the hobby, which is sports cards, trading cards, as well as all other collectibles, right now on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast, live from the Coaches Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Hey everybody, your favorite time. Again, it is the Meelypod Hobby Podcast inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill here in the podcast room. He is the man, Jameel Muhammad. I am Jeff Cardozo, and we are excited to bring you another great episode as we continue to highlight some of the women in the industry, and really special guest that Jameel has running the shop up in South Carolina. So I'm anxious to hear about that and just the facility and the journey and how it's all come together. Gosh, I mean, I feel like we just talked about this and how excited you were to start putting this thing together, and now it's already a year old. So
yeah.
It'll be awesome.
It'll be cool to talk with her, just kind of to get that perspective of really just starting a card shop, right, and managing a card shop in 1 year, and how quickly it's grown, and what are some of the secret sauces to what she's been able to put together there.
Yeah, well, that facility up there is doing great things. This facility here, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, always doing great things. It's like the epicenter of Gainesville. You had a couple years ago, Dabo Sweeney's here, and so many people are here for the first Coaches Awards, first year Coaches Awards, and how awesome that night was. And then last night we both got to be a part of something here with DJ Lagway and his foundation, and they raised a whole bunch of money, almost $100,000, just being a part of here in the community. And DJ Lagway's given money to now the women's sports at the University of Florida for NIL. So I think we're learning that he's not only a good football player, he's a pretty darn good dude, which you got to see that with the signing a month ago.
Yeah, I don't know if that might be the first time we've ever seen a NIL student give a major contribution donation from his earnings to women, to just any program, right? I mean, it's a really amazing gesture. If you don't know what we're talking about, Google it up. But DJ Lagway giving $100,000 to the women's sports here at Florida, and just an incredible gesture. And you think through that, like, wow, this kid is in his early 20s, you know what I mean, and doing these things. So it was really cool, and getting to kind of talk with some other folks last night, some other Gator greats walking around. Got to see Coach Spurrier last night and talk with him about our first episode, actually. I said, Coach, you're the best episode. He goes, I know. I said, we got to talk, showed off his cards, and that was a good episode. Go back and check out episode 1, because we're trying to figure it all out in the beginning, but it was a lot of fun with him. Good night, though.
Yeah, very good night, and there are those Lagway cards out there that people can still go get, and we had some boxes there last night for people to try to win. So.
Yeah, there's all sorts of crazy stuff going on with the auctions. We donated some stuff from that, and raising money for awareness, or raising money for his foundation, and people are very generous in that. So there was one thing last night, Jeff, that I coined. I want to tell you a quick story. You've heard of Dine and Dash, right? People who dine and dash. We've never done that, but last night it was so packed in here, I couldn't get to the bathroom. Right, so I mean, they're doing all the presentation. I'm like, I'm not gonna try and get to the bathroom through all this. So Meredith and I took a little stroll outside. We walked across the street to the movie theaters, used their restrooms, and left. And so as we were leaving, I kind of said, we're going back, come back in here for the rest of the night. I said, we kind of just dined and dashed, Meredith. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, but I think it's more like we peed and fleed, you know? So
there you go.
I think that should be a thing. If you ever have to go into a bathroom that's, you're like a gas station, you're going to be peeing and fleeing. So
I mean, sometimes, you just need to run into McDonald's when you're on the road, and you just got to do it.
I'm coining it, peeing and fleed. Make sure you tag us, Meelypod Hobby Podcast. That's where it came from.
Good stuff. But yeah, great night. Again, if you ever get down to Gainesville, come to Spurrier's. It is truly an amazing place. And he and that foundation pairing up with UF Health, and now helping kids with concussions here, and all the football stuff. There's a lot of great partnerships here around. All right, well, there's a lot of great stuff too that you guys are doing, and I continue now that I'm traveling more with baseball, I'm just sitting on buses and I'm going to Tallahassee tonight. I'll just pull up my phone, I'll see breaks going on, and I just, I never get in them, but I love watching it and just the excitement. And I know you guys have been pulling like these crazy things lately, so I wanted to pick your brain a little bit, or at least tell some people how cool they've been.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, brakes for the 101 on brakes. I mean, if you're kind of like learning and getting into the hobby, and you hear about breakers or braking, it's simply, you're in a live stream with a live person opening and breaking boxes or packs for you. Now, there's different ways to do it, right? There's personal brakes, which we've kind of cornered the market on that in our setup, because we offer good prices. People can't get boxes, or they don't have a card shop where they live, so they come to us as like an online card store. So that's kind of called personal breaks or private breaks, where you buy a box and you get all the contents inside of that. And we have a lot of fresh cases that we open. So then you might have 12 boxes in front of you, and where's the case hit and things like that we're chasing. So that's a fun thing where you get everything that you paid for. There's also something called group breaking, which is where you get multiple people involved, and there's different types of group breaks. The number one that everyone knows is called PYT, or Pick Your Team. And so we do those from time to time, where you can just go on our website, not just in Florida, but in South Carolina as well, and pick a team, purchase that team, and then now have all the cards from that team in that entire case or box that's being opened. So it's a fun way to kind of get in. And let's say you're a Braves fan and Cardinals, and we each get our teams. Braves and Cardinals usually sell out pretty quick, because they're pretty favorite teams. But you get those teams, but you're going to get everything out of that product.
So the cool thing would be, like, if I want a Jack Caglione, then I would buy the Royals.
Right.
Now, does that then...
The chance that Jack Caglione...
Right, correct. Yeah, you may not get one. But does that mean that, certain teams may cost more money because there's a hotter prospect in that, or
it's
like
product
that?
specific. And that's the thing that is always tricky for people. It's like, why is it different in this and this and this? It's because of the checklist. And there's actually kind of an art that goes into looking at these checklists, seeing what's in these products, and then knowing how to price that accordingly, because you can't just make it a flat line price across the board.
Sure.
If there's only 4 cards of this team and there's 172 cards of this team in there. So that's kind of one way we look at it. And also, of course, Jack being a huge prospect in Bowman products, the Royals being very expensive. I think the Royals are going to be pretty expensive for years to come, when you got people like Witt and Jack and just all these people in there. And for us Gators, they're going to be chasing Jonathan India in Royals jerseys soon as well. But there's also other types of breaks that we do. You mentioned some of the pulls. I mean, I was looking at my phone here. I'm looking at some of these pictures. Just some of the stuff that we've been able to pull, like here's a Troy Aikman and Peyton Manning autograph out of 25 out of Chrome that literally came in the same box, a Breakers Delight box that Dakota was working on one night. There's this new product called Prism Live Golf that came out, and there's last night a Bryson DeChambeau hit by Scott break-in that, it's out of a $175 box. The card sells for like $1,800, I think, or something like that. And then earlier in the week, we hit the same version of that with Kepka, a color blast. So we'll put all these on screen so you can see. Kaboom's, just recently, Paul Skeen's Kaboom that somebody hit with the rookie card logo on it. And then up in South Carolina, we had a person buy a mega box of Absolute, and they hit the Jaden Daniels Kaboom out of it. A $2,500 plus card, and if it gets a PSA 10, what is it, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000? So Caleb Williams color blast the other night. Another cool card. We were talking about Bond and a Sean Connery Bond black diamond relic with all these diamonds in it that's literally numbered 007 out of 007. I mean, it's such a cool card that, it's just these things that you can hit out of breaks are just amazing. And again, sometimes you'll lose and sometimes you'll win. It's just kind of the nature of it. But Meelypops breaks and SC Meelypops breaks have just kind of been on fire with what we've been able to do. And if you want to be a part of it, you don't have a card shop, or you're not involved in it, you can just get involved in all of our platforms. You talked about probably Twitter. You probably saw it on. We have a Whatnot. We have a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can catch the breaks on all those.
Wow, sweet. No, I'm definitely going to do it, get in it, and be a part of that. It's got to be so awesome, and I need to do it more, because I want to be around for that one big hit in the car, and just so I want to high five the person through the screen and just say how cool that would be.
Yeah.
So got to be awesome. And what else is awesome? We've got March Madness coming up soon, so anxious to see how that's going to affect different things in the card world, and certainly here at Florida. The question is now are the Gators going to get a 1 seed? And we had Todd Golden on here. just before the season started. And, I know I ran into him and did his TV show a couple of weeks ago. And I said, hey, you still looking for cards? He's like, yeah, I'm a little busy right now, but just pulled this and you just got that. So they're still doing all those other things. So, as this guy's trying to win a national championship, he's still trying to figure out the best cards to do.
Yeah, we gotta get Tops to make a Todd Golden card for us. Yeah, because he's been such a big proponent of the hobby. It's gonna be amazing to see with March Madness what goes on. Tops All-American McDonald's was released not too long ago, and Cooper Flagg had his first autographs in it, and they've just been on fire. They've not gone down. And I thought
his mom's on fire too.
Oh yeah. She was lit at the UNC game, right, going crazy. She had an apology, but she kind of backhanded, I think, an apology
she
too.
Still got him.
So, but I mean, Cooper Flagg is just kind of this generational talent. The Great White Hype, I've heard, and all these things, and the next Larry Bird, and it's just exciting to see now what's going to happen with Duke. Where are they going to go? How far? What's he? Is a tournament going to be one of these things for him where he just builds his aura even more, or are they going to flop? They get upset, So that's why the tournament's so fun. You get to see all these things happen. Paige, on the women's side, you think about just last year, right, and the years before with the players that were in the finals, Caitlin Clark's and Angel Reese's. Now we have Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins and Chloe Kitts and all these players that are going to have cards and Bowman Chrome and products coming out. So how well do they do? Paige Becker's stuff has been really hot in the past, and she's kind of had a little bit of a mid-season, I would say. So let's see what happens in the tournament with her in UConn. They look pretty strong. They just won their tournament.
The conference,
And then a little sleeper that people forget about, Haley Van Lith, at TCU, big favorite, card. She was somebody who people collected at Louisville and also at LSU, and kind of dropped off. And so we'll see what happens with those cards. I love to watch how college sports has just permeated into the hobby more and more so now, and we're seeing better and better valuations of cards. We're seeing more people excited about college cards, which is great. And just lastly, we're going to probably be doing something really cool with March Madness through the shops, and we'll give you more information on that soon with brackets and prizes, and have some fun with it. And we'll get Jeff involved somehow as well.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah, no, it's always it's what everybody wants to do. We got to get them in quick.
Yeah,
you only got those few days to make sure it happens.
Be on it.
Yes, but I don't know. It's so hard to pick.
It's so hard.
But, I don't think anyone will ever get a perfect bracket. It's
never happened.
Virtually impossible.
Yeah,
there's just no way. But there's always a chance.
Maybe this year.
Yeah. All right, let's get a break, and then because we are excited to talk to the owner, or not the owner, but the runner of the South Carolina shop, head honcho, doing some great things in the industry. Back with more here on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
This is Jameel, owner of the Meelypops shop, Gainesville's home for collectibles of all sorts, including every single type of sports cards, whether it be Panini, Topps, Leaf, Upper Deck. We have it. Come on in, get yourself a box, a pack, get yourself some supplies, get into our breaks, get your Pokemon, get your Yu-Gi-Oh! All the other different kinds of TCG products that we carry and shop are always fully in stock. You can find our stuff on our website as well, meelypops.com. That's another way you can interact with the store, or you can just come into the shop. We're located off 39th Avenue by I-75 behind Walgreens and Sonny's. Stop on by. We're open every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can check us out on our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'd love to see you. Come on out to the shop, have some fun, be a part of the card community here in Gainesville, and always go Gators.
All right, we welcome you back. Still inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in the podcast room. Jeff and Jameel with you, and there's a background that we have just seen that I'm very familiar with. And that is, of course, the South Carolina store. I can't miss that. And it's a pleasure. I know you'll bring on Joanna here in a second to introduce her, but. Just doing some great things as we continue to highlight the women in the industry and all the great things that are going on. And I'm excited to have a conversation.
Yeah, no, we have an all-star on today, and I've gotten to know Joanna now for almost over 15 years ish, right?
Wow.
I mean, it's been quite a while, and so we have a connection through her husband. Who, this is the more important interview. So Ben, the Cubs fan, we'll save him for another day, But Joanna is awesome. She's done an incredible job in her first year. It's crazy to think that at Meelypops SC, and so I'm excited to bring her on. I think she's on the virtual now. So hey, Joe, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Good. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold down here today. I can't imagine what the weather's like in South Carolina right now.
It's actually supposed to be in the 70s this week,
Oh.
so I have no complaints about the weather.
Yeah, we're going to Tennessee for baseball on Thursday, and I looked at the weather, and it was like 70s. I was like, holy cow.
Oh, my goodness.
It was just like snowing there 2 weeks ago.
I don't know if I trust Joanna, though. Last time I was there, it started snowing one day. So, I mean, that weather
she's
up
throwing
there
you off.
by the mountains up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, I just want to jump into it. You are, I said an all-star. I think that's just a great representation of what you've been able to do so quickly in the card game. Congrats on just the first year. I mean, at the shop, for those listening and watching, Joanna and I set some goals for the year for the shop for 2 years, right? We broke it down in quarters and all this stuff, and we hit our sales goal in the first year. It was for 2 years. And so I think that just shows you how awesome the shop has become up there, the atmosphere that she's helped create. Has it felt like a year?
In some ways, it's felt like 10 years. In other ways, it's felt like a few months. It's, I mean, leading up, getting it all set up, it obviously took longer than just that first year. So, yeah, but I mean, it's been great. I've loved it. My family has loved it. It's been a new role for me, but something that I've really just enjoyed and just come to love. But yeah, it feels long, but it also feels short.
I didn't even mention, it's a card shop. She's also a 3-time card show veteran as well. She's put on the show, the Upstate Card Show, and been kind of the pillar behind it all. And Ben and I are just running around like a chicken's head cut, but she's the force in that. So she's not only started a card shop, right? She's also been the head of this card show that's been amazing. I think the numbers, Joanna, we think we're somewhere around 1,800 that showed up for the last show. Is that right?
Yeah, I think something around there.
And I think like, you just start a shop and you can have a card show, and we'll get into the facility here in a second, ask you some questions about that. But I don't think I've ever really asked you this. What's one thing about the hobby that you've learned that you never thought you would in this first year?
Well, I don't know if it's something I never thought I would learn, but I have been shocked by the variety of products that people can collect, between Disney and I mean, Call of Duty, Marvel. So that kind of stuff has just been surprising. But I love it because I feel like it includes everybody. Anybody can collect. If there's something you like, there's most likely a trading card for it. So that has been really eye-opening. But then also the diversity of people who collect has been fun to see. Just, kind of a little bit of everything. You got young kids, you got grown-ups, you've got older people. It spans generations. There's no one size fits all. It's really been a hobby for everybody, and that's just one thing that I love that has been surprising to see that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, you've used that word surprising now a couple of times, and I think as I've started to do this with Jameel and understand, and it's a surprise just seeing how many people do that. So I think you're exactly right, and just the variety of stuff, but also diverse. And, I think that's what's really cool, because all these people that we're having on and interviewing, they have all these just eccentric backgrounds, and, it may not have been cards or may not have been anything in the hobby. And in a sense, I think you're sort of that same way. You've got the background in e-commerce and shipping and admin and just all these other things. So, how is that then transferred over to what's all behind you and all these cards and just being around that every day?
It is funny. A couple weeks ago, my mom, I made a comment to my mom, can you believe, would you have ever pictured me managing a card shop? And she was like, no, not at all. So surprising. But she said, I can see you in a managing a shop role. I think it was the trading cards that was surprising to her. But I think, you pull in all of my past things that I've done, even like translating French, like attention to detail, can bring that over in inventorying, admin, setting up processes for eBay and shipping and e-commerce, and knowing how important it is for shipping to be done correctly in a timely manner, plays in here. So the new things for me that I've been having to learn is more like how to manage people and, and be a good manager. I'm definitely an introvert and more of I would like to stay in the back room and not be around people. So this position has really stretched me, and pushed me to grow. And it has just been cool to see how each job I've held, does pour into what I do now, and how I can be better at what I'm doing now because of my experience in the past.
Yeah, details, attention to detail is one thing you just mentioned, and I just think about the card shop, right? And every day, like the things that you oversee, and that needs to get done. Or like the detail in a card shop is quite interesting. You could say, hey, a Walmart's bigger or whatever, but the truth is, a card shop, every single space in the card shop, it's not like every single card in a stack could be different. You know what I mean? There's so many intricacies to it, but you've done super well in that, and it's been cool to see just the skill set. And they've got a different inventory management system that they use in South Carolina than we do in Florida, and we've kind of learned ebbs and flows and may adopt some of those things too. So it's been fun to watch and kind of see us integrate and try different paths in different shops, and the shops have created their own kind of identities because of that, which is cool to see. Meelypops Florida is not Meelypops SC. It's the same brand, but it's a way different identity in how we're set up, and I think that's been another really cool thing, just as the shop's grown. Mm-hmm. So as you talk about identity and you think about some of those things, we're just celebrating women in the hobby. We had Stephanie on from Mama Breaks last week, and she got the chance to just talk about entering into this world in the hobby, which is in a way been predominantly men and just guys running it. It's so cool to see just this uniqueness of women growing in the hobby, whether they be involved in the shop side or breaking side, or whether they be collecting side. I'd love to kind of hear from you, Joe, and your perspective on how maybe you have some ideas on how we can get more ladies, more girls involved in the card shop. And then also, kind of a two-part question here for you. Have you ever experienced any bumps in the road? And what I mean by that is I can imagine just being in these facilities and being around cards and all the and us men wanting to rip cards open. I'd love to hear your perspective on that now that you've been a year fully running this card shop. So I know there's kind of two parts there, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, for the first part, ideas to get women and girls more involved. I don't know. I feel like and I know we'll talk about the facility more later, but where we are, there's always girls, athletes coming through the shop to get free packs or just kind of look around. So I think just being in this location is good for that. I mean, my daughter loves Lorcana. So I think like we, alluded to the variety of products, I think that is only helping the hobby. Just, it's not sports. It's kind of has, there's different parts to collect. And so I think that's very valuable. Bumps in the road. I mean, yes, definitely not. And I would just say in general, as a female in a male heavy driven industry, and I'm meaning just sports in general, not just trading cards. But I have, yes, earlier on, I would say if I'm in the shop and there is a male employee next to me, 9 times out of 10, people are gonna talk to the male. They're gonna ask him the questions. And I think that's just is what it is. Same with when I a few years ago was running volleyball tournaments. I was a tournament director, so I was the one that had all the answers, supposedly. And if I was ever at my table and there was a male sitting next to me, every single time people would ask him the questions. What's my schedule, or what do you need from me? And they would just kind of turn and look at me and be like, Joanna, can you answer them? So it's frustrating in that I feel like we're undervalued in the sports world. But I would say now, being a year in, and people know me, people are very respectful, ask me questions. And I do think there's a sense of if it gets, if anything gets heated about prices of boxes or, I don't know, not wanting to pay for different things, I think men tend to be more respectful if I'm coming in and saying, hey, we can't change the wax prices. I think they handle that better coming from me. And I don't know if they're just, we're in the South, people are respectful typically of women. So it's kind of there's a good that people I feel like are listening to what I'm saying, but then initially it was hard because I'm a woman. No one knew, is thinking that I would be the one that's in charge in a sports card shop.
Yeah, and that's obviously unfortunate because you know what you're doing and you're running the joint and all these great things are happening. And when Jameel first got up there, I was able to have him turn his phone around and he showed me just how great the facility is, not just the background behind you. And so I think that's where we now, as we try to talk about this facility, I think about the first card shop that I ever went to, and it was probably bad because I worked at Publix and I was bagging groceries in high school, and like the next little strip mall over had the card shop. So I'd get my check and there were tips and I'd get all excited and I'd just go waste some money on cards. So I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But you're in this just great place where, and I think, knowing your husband back in the day and kind of everything that was growing around here, how big U sports are, and now all these indoor facilities, and you have the volleyball and the batting cages and the soccer and just basketball and all these things, and just how many people congregate to one place at one time. So that has to be really, really, I guess, just different for them, because normally they're just going to this gym and everybody's running around, but now you have this great place where they can come check you out and see all the awesome things that are in there. So how is that? How does that work?
It's great. It's probably one of my favorite things to see on the weekends is a really cool mixture of people who are collectors, who are hobby people, who are coming in just for the shop, rubbing shoulders with parents that are here for their daughter's volleyball game, and they have a game off, so they're coming to the shop to look at what we got. So it's a really fun, and that goes back into the diversity of people that collect, and just hearing stories of dads. Oh, I've got a box of baseball cards from when I was a kid, and just kind of them reminiscing. And so that's been really fun. And I love where we are. I'm a mom and I love being a mom and I want to be involved in my kids' lives. So having this shop here selfishly helps me because I can I can go watch my kids play sports, and then I can come and work for a little bit, and then I can go back out and watch my daughter play volleyball or my son play basketball. So selfishly, it's been great just for our family having it in this location because we're already here all the time anyways. So throwing the shop in here was just like ideal because now, we're already here all the time and I can just work at the same time. So that's been a big blessing for our family. And it was really cool how God really just made this opened up this place for us. We tried, and we were talking to Jameel and we were like, we don't want to force something that doesn't feel right, and the way that the timing of it and everything was just really encouraging and exciting, and I think it's been just an ideal location in a sports facility, but also location of where we are in Spartanburg, close to a major highway. So it's been a lot of people when they come in say, I've never been to a card shop, in a sports facility. So it's been pretty
unique.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trailblazing.
That's
right.
Joanna Baldridge.
Awesome.
It's amazing. And also her kids. She got four. Supermom, by the way, with four kids. So Bailey, Bo, Banks, and Beckett. They are also little Meelypops marketers. So they'll go around and at the facility and hand out packs, and when a kid comes in and they're opening Pokemon, what are you opening? And they're like our hype people. So nice. We got a little tribe of Baldridges at that Meelypops SC that's helping everything. But you spoke about the facility, and Joanna, the facility is really what is allowed us to create an event, which is the Upstate Card Show,
Mm-hmm.
and. So lucky, so blessed to be able to have a clean, nice, organized facility it just emulates sports, right? And so it's the perfect place to have a card show. And so when we first had this card show, it was our kind of our grand opening back in February of 2024, and we held this show, and Joanna, me, Ben got together and we said, what's the goal for this? And we wanted to be about community. We wanted to celebrate families and kids, and we wanted there to be kind of opportunities and experiences that were way different. So the first show, every vendor had free stuff for kids, and like that was a thing. Like I mean, you might go to a show and there might be some guys and gals that just give them, but we made it a thing where you have to bring something to give out to kids, and that was amazing. Like, we had kids just excited, dressed up. It was around, I think, just it's a really cool experience. Then our second show, we had all these. We really focused on autograph signers for the second show. Jo can tell a funny story about her dad, Dan, being a Javi Lopez fan growing up, and we got him to take Javi back to the airport on the way home.
Sweet.
So that was fun. And then this last show, we did something that never really has been done, which is, and it was our 1-year anniversary, but we had free breaks. And you came in and you signed up for free breaks, and so many people. I remember going up to the front, Joe, looking, and they were just like, What do you mean free break? Like I get to be in this for free, and so that was a really cool experience, and we're going to continue to do that annually through this show. But I wanted to kind of prick your brain on card shows, because now you are a 3-time veteran of running a card show, and I would say it's a small big show or a big small show, or somewhere in that range, right? We're not trying to be the national. We definitely don't want that, but we also are focusing on making it bigger than just a smaller show, and so. First question, how much coffee do you consume on show days?
Oh my goodness. Well, quite a bit. I have my cup at 5 a.m. when I get up, and then I think y'all usually bring me one when y'all come around 6:30, and then I think Ben usually brings me one around 8, and then I think my parents bring me one when the show is starting. So usually after that, I'm good.
It's a grande latte. What's the order?
That's it. Grande latte.
Nice.
Yeah, make sure you know that, folks. If you want to get a discount, maybe on a wax box, bring a grande latte to the shop. She might still tell you no, but it might work out. So, all right. So, second question, a little bit more serious here. There are a lot of people that I talk to in the hobby who are always about, I'm going to start a show, I'm going to do this, I'm going to trailblaze this, and or they have a show and they don't know how to grow it. They're kind of stuck. And I see this too. There's a good example in Jacksonville here where there's never been a big show in Jacksonville, and there's this guy named Lee who we're working with. Lee, he actually helped out and came up to the Upstate show where he's created this show called the Duval Card Show, and he's growing it, and it's going to, in November, I think, go to UNF. It's going to be even bigger, and he's doing it the right way. Now, there have been shows in Jacksonville that have just kind of stayed the same, but they haven't grown or kind of been, looked to grow. And so I think there's a lot of knowledge you have, and, maybe people out there who are thinking about starting a show or growing their show, like, what advice would you give to them based on what you've done in these past 3 shows?
Well, I don't know if I have tons of advice on growing a show. I definitely would say if you're starting one, start local. Like, do not bite off too much. Don't try to do too much. And I think the location matters. It's hard to not do a show here with our facility. I mean, it's literally made. I feel like it's made for card shows. I would say communication is such a huge part of that, and communicating with vendors. And I would say, the community. One reason why we, wanted to keep the show going is, Ben and I are so connected in this community and involved in sports, and our kids are involved in sports, and we are just around so many people that came to the first couple shows and were like, when's the next one? Like, the kids get so excited. And so I don't want to not have something for them. Like, I think focusing on the kids, we have a kids area where there's blow ups and free cards and all that. I just think that I think if you target to the whole family instead of just males who collect, I think it's going to be better, and I think it's going to last, because it's for everybody. And I would say always have a coffee vendor there, because that was a really big deal. The vendors who were selling cards were super excited when I said, hey, I have a coffee vendor this time who's going to be selling coffee at the facility. So
Yeah, it's the way to do it. You didn't tell me that there were blow-ups there. I would have come.
I mean,
I would have gone in there and just jumped up and down.
We can put you in charge of the next one if you
Yeah,
want.
cool.
Yeah.
I'd take that.
This 7'5" tall guy jumping with kids flying everywhere.
Or just one of those ball pits where you can just start throwing balls at all the kids and having fun. That's what it's all about. And I know you had to have fun too with Zion having his camp there at the Star Center, and I know you and Ben have this just great relationship, and being around there in high school and all this stuff. Like, how crazy is that to think of this? And Jameel got me to get one of his cards, which I guess it needs to get higher. He needs to get better again. But just this iconic global superstar, and he's just there hanging out with you guys and kind of helping kids and doing all that. What's that like?
It was cool. It was felt like a really big production, just because he had all of his people with him. There were a lot of camera people, lights set up. So it was a little overwhelming and kind of a little disorganized, but it was the first one, so I'll allow it. But it was cool. I mean, when he came in, people assume that, all of these, athletes are, can be cocky but he was very down to earth. He, talked to Ben. He remembered us. He was really excited to see his jerseys and his shoes that he wore in high school. He might have been a little surprised that we had him, actually, now that I think back. He was like, "What? Where do these come from?" So that was funny. But yeah, it was fun. The kids were just so excited, and he was great with them, and he was not it was cool. Just him talking about how he used to play here, and his high school experience, and where he is now. And it was really fun, and the kids loved it, and we would love to keep that going. So trying to, get times nailed down for another camp for him to come to this year.
So fun factoid too, just hearing that, I forgot to tell you, Jeff. I'm pretty sure you went to the wedding of the guy who's got the viral video with Zion, where he's the short guy and he's trying to match up. I don't know if you've seen the video. And he's pushing him and in high school, and Zion's towering over him. So they're actually friends. But that's a guy you went to his wedding, right? And that's one of those videos that everybody knows about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Bryson. The girl that he married was my kid's babysitter all through her high school, and she is a volleyball player, so she played for the club. So yeah, we kind of, every time we don't see Bryson a ton, but whenever we see him, we like to give him a hard time because that was his claim to fame.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Zion.
It's cool to you go back and you can search on YouTube and see all these millions of views on these videos with Zion, making these 5'5" guys look like children, and then it's in the Star Center, right? It's these blocks or dunks or whatever, and you're like, yeah, that's right there. That's where he grew up. So it's cool to see just the community that you have really just helped curtail. Joanna, you and Ben have done such a phenomenal job in bringing people to these shows. You even mentioned earlier about you love being a mom. I feel like you are the mom of the card shop, that is kind of what I've noticed up there is people and kids and other moms, they come to you very regularly. And I think it's a uniqueness that you don't see ever really in any shops. And so maybe that's why Meelypops has been successful. We've had a lady involved in ownership and working and managing the shops, and it's the ladies' touch, and that's why we're doing all right. But we could talk to you for hours. I know you got a gazillion things to do, and we start Player of the Day today, Jeff. It's this awesome program with Panini. She's going to be setting up for that where people can win packs if they pull a player. Ooh. So if you pull a certain player, you get special packs. So I'm going to let you get to that, Joe. But I prepared some questions for you as part of our Titan MRI rapid fire segment. Now, listen, this is not easy, okay? I know. Okay. I put you through the ringer on some things and making you learn up there and putting you on camera to make videos for social media and stuff like that. But this is a tough one. So are you up for the Meelypod Titan MRI rapid fire segment before we close this out?
Bring it on.
Oh, she's ready. All right, here we go with Joanna Baldridge, Meelypops SC, and I got a guy right here next to me who might want to comment. But Joanne, who's your all-time favorite Brave?
Chipper Jones.
How about you?
Maddox
and Chipper.
Chipper's right up there with them all.
Yeah, Chipper.
He was supposed to be a Gator too. He would have come here.
Can you imagine?
That would have been cool.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Then he would have wanted to be a Cardinal probably or something. Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Joanna, how much do you love making social media content?
About negative $1 million.
If that's a real thing, then there you're at. It's always fun. All right, we were talking about it earlier with the ball pit, Jeff. Is Gaga Ball the next pickleball?
My kids would say yes. I'm not about to get in there and play, but yes.
Do you know Gaga Ball?
Oh.
So we'll have to teach. We'll have to have an adult Gaga Ball game when we bring Jeff up there.
Sweet.
We'll set
There's
it
gonna
up.
be a lot of injuries.
Yep, a lot of hurt backs and busted knees. Google Gaga Ball, people. It's pretty fun. We set those up at the card show. It's a lot of fun. All right, as a Southern gal, grew up in Greer, lives in Pauline, South Carolina. What is your favorite classic Southern dish?
Mac and cheese.
Do you make a mean one, or is it somebody else? Or mom?
I do. I make a mean one.
Give us the secret ingredient. What makes it mean?
Well, a variety of cheeses and what sour cream.
Oh, okay.
There we go. That's the ticket. We'll have to start selling your recipes in shop too. That could be something we create, or maybe we add it in. If you buy a box, you get a recipe or something like that.
Get a recipe. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. All right. One Piece, Pokemon, or Lorcana?
Lorcana.
See, Disney coming through. We heard about Disney last week with Stephanie. Joanna's talking about Lorcana. Maybe there's a trend here.
Deal.
Disney cards, people, pay attention. All right. Which Baldridge family member has the best pulls?
Probably Bo.
Bo pulled a Mike Trout out of a Topps box, patch auto, that's like 1 in 47 cases, and he pulled it at the first card show, and he showed it, and then he started running full speed across the show, and we're like, slow down, Bo, slow, and he's just sprinting, showing everybody with this $800 card in his hand. It was amazing.
Wow, that's awesome.
Bo's pretty good. He's pretty good. When it comes to weather, Joe, cold and icy or hot and humid?
Probably cold and icy. That's why I will never live in Florida.
This next one has a backstory. Is Christian Hernandez your favorite Cubs player?
Oh, Ben. No. Maybe if his card value had remained high, then yes. Or if Ben had sold his card sooner, then yes. But definitely not.
I just love it because it's a Cubs card, so I can kind of embellish it more with Ben.
You can really give him all the time. Yep.
He pulled it in a break.
Okay.
Big card, red Bowman Chrome Shimmer out of 5 auto. Graded it, PSA 10'd it. Probably worth about $10,000 to $15,000 at that time. Currently, it's probably 5% of that value.
Oh, gosh.
But every time we had opportunity to sell it, we never got the offer we wanted, so it just kept going down in every card show. And so that's why we had the Christian Hernandez.
Makes sense.
Be careful with you Bowman people out there. There's the ups of it, and there's also the downs on Bowman.
Yeah,
so
it's nuts. Yep. Yeah, and you've talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
When to do it and when not to. So.
And you never know. He might come back too, Joe, so that'll be the thing. We'll keep an eye on it.
I won't hold my breath.
Is it in that case behind you still?
It is. Yep. It's back there.
If you'd like to see the infamous Christian Hernandez card, stop by Meelypops SC. All right, what are you more excited about coming up? Because I know this is going to be some new events for you this year. Fanatics Fest or the National?
I don't know. I'm excited about both. I think Fanatics Fest is going to be less stressful and more like meeting people and kind of getting to see how it's run. I think the National, I've just heard such great things about it. It's going to be, I'm excited about it because my family's going to be there. They're making a trip of it, but I also know I'm going to be super busy, but I've always heard about it. So it'll be fun to get to experience it.
First time for both this year. So 2025 is going to be a big one for the Baldridge family. Last one, Joe. We've learned how important encouragement is in the hobby. I think this is a big part, especially when starting shops, managing shops, leading people. So what are some words of encouragement that you might share pertaining to the hobby as we close it out here?
I don't know if I would say their words of encouragement, but I do want to just thank this community. I feel that we have been just embraced, and it's been so cool to be a part of this. And that again, there's stuff for everyone. So do it with your family. I mean, I'll never forget going to Meelypops in Florida for the first time, and my kids were so excited, and just the excitement of, Pokemon and sports and all these different things. And I think just it's fun to find something to do as a family. So I would encourage all families out there, even if you don't think there's something for you, like go try it out. Like go rip some cards with your kids. I mean, my family, we ripped some Lorcana last night all together. Like, and it's wholesome to do something together as a family, because I feel like this day and age, you get busy and everyone goes their separate ways. And I really think this hobby is something that can just bring the families back together. And so I just would encourage people to do that together, and to come stop by the South Carolina shop.
The card shop is wholesome.
Yeah.
For the family. That's what it's
awesome.
about. So, well, we're excited to just continue to see South Carolina grow. And it's just been 1 year, and I can only imagine in the upstate, just the amount of people that have just told me how great it is to meet Joanna and the crew up there. And we have, it's funny, our Florida shop has kind of a mix of, we got people older than me and younger than me. At South Carolina, everybody's younger than me and Joanna. And so it's interesting kind of seeing the dynamics and the youthfulness in that in the shop, and really ties into the energy right in the facility. So if you are around on a weekend, come out to Meelypops SC, meet Joanna, meet the crew, and check out the shop. It's got some really cool things in there, as well as being the best priced in South Carolina. So we'd love to see you out there. Joe, thank you for the time. We know you need a coffee. Go to Starbucks, get yourself a latte, and we'll catch up soon.
All right, thanks guys. Appreciate being on.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, thank you, Joanna. Appreciate that. Yeah, just really cool again, just to hear another story, and the youthfulness that you guys are talking about. You can see the smile on her face and how excited just having all that is. And I think it's just the backgrounds are unique too, to just maybe not necessarily have grown up loving cards or being a part of that, and then have all these other skill sets, put it all together and make it successful. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, the origin of how people got into the hobby, right? And then the nostalgia coming back of, you might be there for a volleyball tournament or a basketball game with your kids, and then you see this store you walk into and you're like, oh, I just did this 15, 20 years ago. I didn't know this was still a thing, or I didn't know it was this level, or how Pokemon has brought me into the store and got me trading and collecting again. So it's been a really unique experience to be partner with that Star Center, and Joanna and Ben have done an amazing job just kind of cultivating that. So looking forward to seeing the growth.
Yep, really special stuff. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue the Meelypod Hobby Podcast right after this.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't.
Well, amazing stuff. You always bring the best of the best, and obviously she's doing some great things up there, and to have that relationship with just that community. I see what you guys have done with this community, so I can only imagine how special that is up there. So yeah, keep it going.
Yeah, celebrate women in the hobby. I mean, it's just amazing to see what's being done, and I think there's some really cool changes. You've just seen it across the board, and more ladies just doing some really awesome things in the space, and Joanna being on that list.
Yeah, certainly so. All right, I'm sure there's another list of wax that is coming out, and you mentioned in segment 1 just the things, and I still think about that 007 card, 007 of 007.
Sean Connery.
So,
yeah.
Really, really cool. So it's stuff like that keeps you wanting to rip stuff.
Joanna was talking about that too, right? Like, there's just so much that you can collect, and I love the fact that someone could walk into a card shop, not be interested, and we have an opportunity to find something that they're interested in. She didn't mention it, we didn't have a chance to talk about it, but Garbage Pail Kids have cards, and everyone, GPK they call it, but we actually had one of the artists who drew the sketch card come into the shop and buy boxes of it. And so, like, it's a really cool world where we're getting, you kind of combine art and non-sports and just different nostalgia things beyond the sports card realm, which people are getting excited about.
I do need some Garbage Pail Kids.
They are fun. They are fun. Shout out to
love those back in the day.
Yeah, they are. They were a hit. Shout out to Jeff in our shop. He works in the shop. He's a Garbage Pail Kid Nut. He's always buying them. So
sweet.
Well, cool. So Wax this week, not a huge release week, which is I'm thankful for as a card shop owner to have a little bit of a lull week. We have Court Kings basketball coming out 24-25, really cool canvas cards, really pretty cards that come out. Upper Deck is throwing their hat in the ring since they lost the Marvel license to Topps. They gained the DC license. So that means Superman, Batman, Joker, Aqua. I mean, all the world of DC Flash. So they have their first release coming out. It's called DC Annual 23-24. A little bit behind, I guess, with the years, but it'll be interesting to see how people take in the Upper Deck world to the DC world, because there hasn't really been cards for DC cards. So, and Superman coming out this next year is the new movie, with James Gunn. I think it's going to be a big deal. And so how will they flock to that? We have a cool set in hockey. It's called EX2000 NHL. So EX2000 was a set that came out that it was an acetate-based card that was layered. It kind of revolutionized kind of inserts. They're really cool looking cards. Kind of like you're looking through glass, but also you can see the image of the player. Okay. And they made a set for that, kind of a throwback to this year. It's the first year they've come back with the set. So I'm excited to see what comes through that. I know we'll have some Connor McDavid rookie cards and things to be chasing there. Prism NBA Fast Break and Hobby Blasters are out this week. So for you guys looking for Castle or Connect or Reed Shepard or whoever you're chasing, those rookies, they're still there. And the big one that I'm kind of excited about is Topps Chrome WWE Sapphire. So Sapphire is a product that's a higher-end product, and WWE Chrome just switched licenses from kind of Panini over to Topps, and we just got our first Chrome not too long ago. So now we have the Sapphire version out this week. And, of course, Meelypops.com, SCMeelypops.com, you can find all this stuff. We are, as Joanna said, we are priced very well. That's why we don't really negotiate, because we're usually the lowest price on this stuff. So go and find that and have some fun with those rips. You can always message us, let us know what you hit too. We'll mention it on the podcast. But I was mentioning EX2000 there. I'm thinking our guest next week and our autograph guest for the shop had some really cool EX2000 basketball cards back in the day in white chocolate. Jason Williams.
Way back old. Yeah, Jason Williams, the guest next week, and I think all you have to do is just YouTube Jason Williams and just see the insane passes and things that he did. And of course, part of Gator team here that did some really good things for the year that he was here, and then goes to the NBA and he's passing a LeBron and just doing all these crazy things. But really excited to talk to him. His daughter's killing it. She just was a big part of them beating Texas A&M last week, and
big home run, right?
Hit the home run on Sunday, and Texas A&M was top 5 team in the country, and the Gators went up there and took 2 out of 3. So maybe she's eventually going to be a better athlete than he was, which is hard to believe.
Clown him on that a little bit and see, or see if they have some like competitive things that they do together, like they have a passing thing they do or a hitting thing. So, but yeah, I'm excited to have Jason. Talked to him just last week, and he's really excited about the event that we're going to host March 29th at the shop. It's a Saturday. Coming out, signing autographs. We got people calling from all over, looking forward to meeting him and getting stuff signed. It's just going to be a fun event, and we'll have PSA in the shop again that day. So there's card grading, there's, autograph getting, there's, wax ripping, there's Pokemon. There's so much going on that day, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, can't wait. Well, it's gonna be awesome. Well, today was awesome as well. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. However you did it, tell your friends about it. We continue to just try to educate and learn more and more about the great things that are going on. And Jameel and the South Carolina shop, they're both gonna always be right there helping kids and being a part of the community, and that's what certainly makes things special. So appreciate it. Again, tuning in for Jameel. I am Jeff. We'll talk to you next week on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast.
Thank you for joining us. We will see you next Thursday at noon.